Alrighty, friends. Hello. It's not Aaron. It's me today, Connor, and welcome to a new stream. Today, we're with Ismaen. Ismaen, welcome.
Thank you, Connor. Thank you. It's a pleasure to be here.
This was really a buzzer beater getting this started. It looked like a lot of issues, but we got it across the line. This is very, very exciting. Now, Ismaen, there's a lot to talk about today. But before we get into it, do you want to tell us a little bit about who you are, what you do, and what we're going to be talking about today?
Definitely. So my name is Ismaen Aboubakare. I am a developer advocate, or I lead the developer advocacy team here at Airkit. I've been in the low code space for actually quite a bit, especially like low code for like the enterprise. So prior to coming to Airkit, I was working at Microsoft with the Power Platform. So not sure if there's any like Power Platform users here, but saw what the team at Airkit was doing, and really liked what they had to offer. And so I am now essentially doing all things uh, automation when it comes to like automating customer workflows and customer experiences with the Airkit platform.
Awesome. Well, that sounds so good. So, do you want to tell us a bit about what we're going to be trying to create today?
Definitely. So, a little bit of context, actually, just to kind of provide for those that haven't heard about Airkit before. Airkit is really about essentially transforming like customer engagement into action. And so, what that means is, how do we create like these seamless experiences, or these seamless experiences across the all touch points when you are working with your customers. And so I like to kind of relate it back to like these personal examples of like these customer experiences that I've had, right? And customer experiences can kind of like when I think about like a bad customer experience or even a good customer experience, it's essentially me working with a particular brand or particular company, and maybe having to be on hold for something because I have to call into a support line, right? Something that should only really be like a few clicks away, something that should be self-service, such as maybe getting the order status of my delivery or something like that,
Hmm.
right? Um, and so these customer experiences don't like they're really meant to they really drive kind of like affinity towards a product or towards a brand, and having these great customer experiences you can actually build within the Airkit platform.
Hmm.
So today what we're going to be doing is we're going to be taking a look at like an onboarding, or more so like an updating experience with Airtable, and connecting that and triggering off an Airkit application using an API. So
That sounds great. And yeah, I fully
mhm.
agree. I mean, just from personal experiences, some of the telecom providers in Canada probably could do with an upgrade or two. So hopefully they are all here watching this. But let's just dive straight into it. I'm going to go and share my screen. So I'm just going to check. Can everyone see it? Sweet. Okay, so tell me, before we get started, what are the different tools that we're going to need in order to make this all work?
Yeah, so the different tools that we are going to need is, well, so I guess for the use case is like, I guess think about maybe an experience, like if you have like an Airtable base or a CRM or any type of backend system, and you want to proactively reach out to your customer, having them update some information, right? Whether it's updating a payment, or if they have moved, updating their address, which we're actually going to do today. And how do you engage your customer in a way that's actually meaningful, and will maybe prompt them or nudge them into action?
Hmm.
And so the idea here is we've got Airtable, which is, let's call that our system of record today. We've got Airtable, and we have a few different fields, right? Super simple. And we're going to be reaching out to the customer through their phone number and having them update their address.
Hmm.
So, in order to engage them via SMS, we're going to need Twilio, we're going to need Airtable, and we will be using Airkit to essentially send those notifications,
Hmm.
and as well as kind of creating that web experience on top.
Hmm. Hmm. Great. So just to recap, Airtable, which is basically going to be our CRM in this case. Then we've got Twilio, that we're going to be using to basically notify our customers that will about them updating their address. And then Airkit, which is basically going to deliver the entire customer experience of someone updating their address.
Exactly.
Great. Okay, well, let's get into it. Where do I start?
Definitely. So, I think the best way to start is probably, I guess, like, can we take a look at your Airtable base and just kind of make sure that everything is set up properly?
Yep.
Awesome. So we've got name, notes, phone number, and the flag of a SMS sent. I think the idea here is for us just to kind of click on that checkbox and have it send in like an SMS text message, essentially, right?
Yep.
Awesome. So, um, if we can go to Airkit, let's kind of like start, I guess connecting these two systems together. So yeah, you're gonna go to console.
Yep.
Sorry.
Okay.
And you are gonna go to integrations.
Mm-hmm.
And so what we're doing is we are essentially kind of setting up the Twilio integration inside of Airkit,
Mm-hmm.
and we are also setting up the Airtable integration into Airkit. And it actually looks like you already did that there. But here is pretty much where you pass like the API key that you get from Airtable,
Yep.
so that we can make those HTTP requests. And then also for Twilio, you need to pass essentially your, I think it was your SID account or something like that, and your authentication key,
Correct.
to kind of make that connection into your Twilio console.
Yep. So I did this in advance so that I don't have to share any API keys. But just to quickly show you from what I did, you just jump in there, you give your tool that you're using or your integration a name, and then you can actually choose from the drop down what the tool is that you're using. So in Airtable's case, I selected Airtable, and then from the account settings panel inside of Airtable, you can just copy and paste over your API key, and that is all you need to do in order to connect it. Same for Twilio, was all pretty straightforward. Just jump in, select it, and then you have to get your account SID, I think it's called, and then
I think that's what it's called, yeah.
Yeah, and then your account authentication key. Just paste them in there, and then again it will just connect it like that, and then you'll just see it show up inside of your integrations tab.
Exactly. And right here is actually it's kind of like our secret sauce in a sense, because you can use like the out of the box integrations. If there are any other systems such as, I don't know, we've got Salesforce, but if you want to work with any other APIs that use OAuth 2 or the standard authentication, you can use like the custom integrations tab on the left. But have you connected your phone number yet to this?
I have not.
You have not. Okay, so there's one more step. So with Twilio, you have essentially the connection into the Twilio, I guess, like your dashboard, essentially those resources. We need a phone number to essentially send those notifications over into, I guess, whatever phone number. So
Yep.
go ahead and click on resources. And before doing that, actually, have you bought a phone number yet?
No.
Not yet. Okay. So a phone number, I think it's like $1 a month or something like that.
Okay.
But we're gonna have to purchase a phone number in Twilio.
Okay.
For us to essentially use. So you go to phone numbers, you can go to, I think it's manage, that looks right, and then buy a number.
Okie dokie.
Very cool. So
Right.
whichever phone number.
Okay.
If you want one close to your area code, maybe. I don't know.
Oh yeah,
It
yeah.
doesn't
Good
matter.
point. Good point.
Yeah.
Oh, nope. Okay, well, I suppose today we're getting a phone number in Yellowknife. There are not a lot of... Oh, wait. We'll just go BC. We'll just go by this one.
All right.
Okay, I agree. Buy. Wow. I've only ever bought in domains. This is like the next level.
It is next level.
Okay.
Super cool.
All right, so now, anything else I need to do? Do I configure it, or we good?
I mean, so like I think best practice technically is like when you configure it, you give it like a friendly name. So if you're sharing this Twilio account with anyone, then you can say this is Connor's phone number.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Oh, yeah.
if not, then it doesn't really matter. But
Okay. I'll just leave it as that for now. Oh, we'll just go
sounds good.
Connor's Airtable. Sure. Okay. Now.
Cool. Go ahead and save that.
Okay.
And what we're gonna have to do is we're gonna have to associate that phone number over into Airkit.
Okay, so I am going to head over into Airkit. I'm going to go to resources, and then I'm going to go to phone numbers, and then I'm going to create a new phone number.
Exactly.
And so give the resource a name, which I'm going to call Twilio number. Doesn't really matter what I call it, correct?
Yeah, it doesn't really matter.
Cool. Then what is the next step?
We are going to be sending a text message. So go ahead and use that.
Yep.
And then select your
Twilio. Perfect.
And on his Airtable.
Oh, right. Okay. So that is the name that I gave my phone number in.
Exactly.
Okay. Cool. Makes sense.
Yeah.
Okie dokie.
And so go ahead and click create there. And what that's doing is it's essentially establishing a connection to Twilio. And now you can actually use that number to send text messages from your applications here.
Cool. All right.
Awesome.
I've got regrets now around calling it Connor's Airtable. It kind of makes no sense. All right.
No. All good. It's okay. I don't know if we'll see that name one more time, but no one that you're sending the text message will see it, so it's okay.
All right.
Your customers won't see it.
Cool.
But I agree. Naming convention is really. I mean, it's always up to the developer, right?
Exactly. Yeah. Okay. Next steps. Now we've got our integrations set up. We've got our phone number configured in the resource tab.
Mm-hmm.
What's next for us?
Yes. Now let's go ahead and create our application.
Okay.
So that's pretty much all we're gonna have to do on the, I guess, like the setup side, because we've got essentially two integrations, right? Airtable and Twilio. So let's go ahead and click on create new in the top right hand corner.
Okay.
And you can see here, these are a bunch of templates that you can start with. We are going to start from a blank app. So if you can click on create blank app.
Okie dokie.
Awesome. All right. It is good practice to rename your application. So
we can try again.
give you another shot.
We'll go Connor's notification system.
There you go.
I'm going to regret this in 5 minutes, aren't I? All right.
Awesome. And go ahead and click on edit in Studio there.
Okay.
All right. So let me. I think the best way is maybe give you like a little bit of orientation about like kind of the studio and what that looks like.
Yep.
On the left hand side, we've got what we call like our builder bar, which are essentially kind of like, it's like, think of it as like your full stack, right?
Mhm.
You have like journeys, which is how you like architect and orchestrate your applications. Triggers is how you like start your experience, your customer experience, so you can have it start via like an API request, or someone like clicks on a link. Chatbots, you can create these conversational chatbots, voice bots. That's where you set up like IVR systems, so like call deflections actually. So
Nice.
you have a phone number, so if someone were to call that phone number, you can be like, hey, it looks like no one's available right now, but let me send you a link to reschedule so that we can call you back, right?
Mhm.
Make it as seamless for the customer as possible. Connections, you can think of that as kind of like your functions, essentially like these data flows or these workflows that run on the server side.
Mhm.
Notifications is where you can actually, that's where we're going to be actually sending out these SMS notifications.
Mhm.
And then kind of going down the list, if you don't have like a system record, we also have a internal database that you can leverage, place to add some assets such as logos and stuff in the media library. And
Mhm.
then theme is where you style, and then we got schedules, and then we have settings.
Okay.
So that's essentially the rundown of the left hand side. But we're going to start with the triggers actually.
Okay. Okay, let's not wait. I'm just having some issues here. Let's not force quit. Whoa,
No worries.
OBS is taking off on my computer. Okay. All right.
All
So
good.
journey.
So the journey. So we are going to essentially have this AirKit experience get triggered off by an API request.
Okay.
And so if you want to drag over that API icon over into that trigger section,
Yep.
perfect. So we're gonna set up our journey first, and then we're gonna kind of work through all of the different pieces there. So
Yep.
we've got this journey, and then when an API request gets hit, we want to send a notification to that user, right?
Mm-hmm.
So if you take a look at the bottom where it says notifications,
Mm-hmm.
you can drag the SMS into the start pane that you see there.
Here we go.
Perfect. Um, and after that user gets the notification, we want them to essentially be navigated, or like when they click on that link, they want to like land on a web page that we designate for them, right?
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, you can click on select notification. But from there, you can just add new. You're just creating like a base for us to start from. So go ahead and click on add new, and we'll uh, another naming test.
Okay, so we're gonna go update notification. I don't know what's going on here. Looks like my computer's having a little melt. Okay, so update notification. Sorry, I don't know why this is happening right now.
No worries.
Okay, update notification. Okay, then create.
Yep.
Okie dokie.
Awesome. And then let's go ahead and select a Webflow at the bottom there.
A
Oh, sorry, like
Webflow.
where it says Webflow starts.
Yep.
Perfect. And go ahead and just add a Webflow.
Okay.
All right. Perfect. So we're essentially just kind of setting up the journey right now. And I guess just to kind of explain what a journey is very like, I guess, like synonymous to a session. But the reason why we kind of call it a journey is because within AirKit, we actually maintain the state of your session across the entire journey. And so what
Mm-hmm.
that means is when you like, let's say you were to like fill out an onboarding form, right? But you get interrupted and you like stop altogether.
Yep.
We have customers that are building out these like abandoned checkout use cases, pretty much, where it's like, hey, it looks like you didn't finish. Like, do you want to continue your journey? And you can click on that link. It'll actually take you back exactly where you started.
All right.
Or sorry, yeah, exactly where you left off. And so that's why we call it a journey, because like even if you drop off, you actually can continue back where you started, as opposed to starting over. And so, um, but
Right.
yeah, that's kind of like what a journey is in the context of AirKit.
Right. Oh, that makes a lot of sense, because that's something. Well, at least in the past, when I've built onboarding experiences, I've either done it with like a form builder, like Jotform, or even like a
Mhm.
custom one in Webflow. But you're right. Like, if you have like a long onboarding journey and someone leaves, they have to restart from the beginning again, because there's no way to actually store where someone is in that user journey. So
Exactly.
yeah, that makes sense. That
Exactly.
sounds great.
Yeah, and it's always it's just this kind of those small details that really just like increase your customer satisfaction when it comes to like going through a touch point of yours.
Hmm.
So
Well, for sure. And not just that, I actually know that if you think about some of the platforms that already do that, you're way more likely to complete like an onboarding process. Or like in my case, I think one that pops to mind is when you like buy tickets online and you have
okay,
like an order of things and you then return to it. It's like continue where you left off type stuff. So
exactly.
yeah, for sure.
Yep,
It's a way better onboarding, like a way better user experience.
exactly. Awesome. So we've got our journey kind of set up. But let's start to kind of go and deep dive into the different pieces of that, right?
Yeah.
So the first part is that API request.
Hmm.
And so in AirKit, you can actually like just create an API straight from the browser here. And so yeah, go ahead and click on that edit icon.
Mm-hmm.
And so the first thing we need to do is essentially create our URL route.
Mm-hmm.
And so what that means is we want to essentially create the endpoints. And so I'm giving you an opportunity to name your URL route here. So where it says create a new URL route underneath there,
Yep.
not there, but like there's a text box that you see
Yep.
right there. Perfect. So what would you like the endpoint to be called?
Update.
Perfect. Update. Love it. That works. So go ahead and click on create.
All right, there we go.
Awesome. And so you just created a URL route for us to hit that API.
Okay.
And we're going to be hitting that from Airtable. But if we wanted, we could actually associate like an API key to that so that you can to make sure it's like more secure. That's going to be like additional steps. So I think for now we'll probably make it so that it's we can just kind of leave it like that, unless you wanted to add some authentication to it.
Yeah, let's do it. Why not? I think it's
All right.
something that people might want to use.
Definitely. So go ahead and click on that. So we need to actually create an API token now. So if you, it might be easier to like maybe create, like open up a new tab and go to console.airkit.com so we don't lose context there. Awesome. And actually, one more thing before going there. Can we go back to your Studio tab and just go ahead and save your app just to in the top left? You can also use like Control S or Command S if you're on a Mac. But
Okay.
yeah, we want to make sure that we have our application saved. But back to the console.
Yep.
And go ahead and go to, I think it's under API.
Yep.
And go ahead and click on Create New. And you're going to go ahead and just enter a token name.
Wallet.
So the token's going to appear on the screen here. So if you want, you can probably move this tab over somewhere else once you click on create.
All right. I actually don't mind if people see the authentication key, so it's all good.
Yeah.
So we'll click on create.
Cool. Yep. And go ahead and copy that to your clipboard or something.
All right. Copy.
Sweet. And let's put that somewhere that you can use because we're going to need that when we make the API request from Airtable.
Okay, I'm just going to save it on my notepad. Cool, got it.
Sweet. All right, let's go back to the studio. And you might need to like refresh possibly, but yeah, click on that. I wonder if that'll appear.
Open this? Okay.
Yeah,
so
you might have to refresh.
Refresh first. Wow, all these things that I've made us do just to have a little bit of extra security.
Oh, I'm sorry. There's something we have to put into settings. We have to associate that token with the app. So go ahead and go to settings. Yeah. And scroll down to keep going. API key filtering.
Okay.
There it is. And click on that and click on keys and token Airkit. Perfect.
Beautiful.
And since we're here, one thing that we forgot to do was actually connect our Twilio number and our Airtable key to this app.
Yep.
And so you can click on the plus icon next to integrations there.
Yep.
And click on it and hover over adapters and just click on Airtable.
Yep.
And then go ahead and choose forgot what you called it.
Oh, let's just gamble. It's a 50-50 chance we get it right.
Exactly, yeah. So there's that, and then we just need to associate your phone number with this app. So actually not there. If you scroll up just a little bit to chatbot or like the SM
Chatbot?
right there, yeah. And click on that.
Connor's Airtable.
Connor's Airtable. Exactly.
Right.
It's haunting us.
I know. Okie dokie. So we've got Airtable.
All
We've
right.
got our phone number configured. Sweet.
Sweet. All right. So back to the API.
Okay, so we're gonna go back to Journey, and then we're back in here. Okay,
Yeah.
and
And actually back to triggers. Sorry.
triggers. Yep,
And then
yeah,
click on the exactly right there.
there it is. Perfect.
And then all right, sweet. Now we need to configure the API real quick. And so if you click on like that, the slash next on the left-hand side underneath your route,
Mm-hmm.
yeah. And we are going to make this a post request.
Okay.
Awesome. And so now essentially this is like saying, okay, what do we expect out of this API? And so that's going to be essentially like the input config from the Airtable script.
Mm-hmm.
And so if you just do like curly brace, um, and then I think the first one is like ID, I believe. And you can wrap that in quotes, in double quotes,
Yeah.
actually, yeah. And then do colon, and then in double quotes, you can wrap like just do 1, 2, 3 or something. Perfect.
Okay.
Comma. So we're creating a JSON
Yep.
object right here. And so we're going to do name and then phone number as the next two parameters. So
Yep. Can't even spell my name. Name, phone. All right. And
perfect.
I can just put placeholder stuff in there for
They're
now.
all placeholders. Yeah. It's just to make to show what this expects.
Right. Okay.
Awesome. All right. So go ahead and scroll down just a little bit. And you'll if you click on sample payload, you'll see like that's kind of what we're like that's essentially what comes down from the or like what you're able to work with when it comes to this API.
Mm-hmm.
And so that data, you can see that next to like the body object.
Yep.
That's going to be how we like work with this data down here. So the first thing we're going to need to do is we are going to so we're going to need to have to like format the phone number so that Airkit can actually like work with it in a
Mm-hmm.
sense. I think Airtable passes it as like a formatted string. We want to essentially parse it so that it can like essentially Airkit can leverage it and read it.
Mm-hmm.
So if you scroll down and you click on the plus icon, we are so this essentially are what we call data operations, and you can essentially make requests, you can do HTTP, you can create files, generate anything from there. We're going to do a transform, and
Yep. There we
and
go.
that is simply just creating like a like we're just creating a JSON object here. So
Mhm.
um, just to save a little bit of time here, I'm gonna actually, yeah. So we're gonna create another JSON object. So go ahead and do curly brace
Inside of here.
inside of there. Yeah. And you can remove the null. And you're gonna do like colon name, or sorry, not colon, quote, double quote name, and then colon. And then as you start typing payload, you can see like we've got uh there you go, payload, and then dot body dot name.
Nice. I love it. This is like working with Airtable scripts. Not as
Yeah, yeah.
good,
So that's
but yeah. Cool.
yeah. And then so that's essentially you're creating this object that we can then leverage across our journey.
Yep.
So we've got payload.body.name. Let's do the ID real quick.
Mm-hmm.
So same thing for the ID.
ID is payload.body.id.
Exactly.
Love it. And then phone number.
And then phone number, we're going to do a little bit of AirScript.
Okay.
So AirScript is essentially like it's like an Excel inspired language that we use across Airkit.
Mm-hmm.
But you're going to do phone and then colon, and then we're going to use the parse phone. function. So if you type parse phone, and then this takes two parameters. The first one is the actual phone number string. So payload.body.phone.
Mm-hmm.
And then comma.
Mm-hmm.
And then we are going to format it this should work for the phone numbers that we're using today, but just in quotes type US, capital US. Perfect. And
Okay.
awesome. So go ahead and scroll down. And if you want, you can click on run there. I don't know if we put in a real phone number. Yeah, we didn't put a real phone number, so we got an error. But if you were to put a real phone number in the sample payload, then that would have worked.
Mm-hmm.
But now that we have the phone number, we need to essentially start our journey.
Yep.
So if you scroll down and click on the plus icon,
Yep.
we can go ahead and just type start journey.
Yep.
And if we scroll down a few more, um, essentially in the start parameters, we want to pass the data that we just passed in.
Mm-hmm.
So, so the data that you just created on the right hand side just become variables. So now you can just type transform. Sweet.
Awesome. So just to recap some of the key steps that we did here that have led us to this point, we defined the JSON that basically determines what the body is going to be. Then we transform it so that we have those variables, and then we basically define this variable here that we can then later on reuse when we start our journey.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
Cool.
Exactly.
All right. So far, so
Awesome.
good.
So far, so good. And so there's just, I think, two more things we need to configure at the bottom of this API, which is essentially like, yeah, if you keep going, it's essentially the response status and the response bodies. So here you can add like validation and pass if you want like 401 errors or 400 errors. We'll make it simple and just do a 200 here. We're just hard coding it to it's just going to be successful based off of our testing, but you can do some validation.
Mm-hmm.
And then if you scroll down to response body,
Mm-hmm.
uh, this is essentially what happens when you make the post request. Let's just pass the journey variable, which is essentially the output of when you start a journey.
Mm-hmm. So this variable here.
Yeah. And
So,
what that's going to do is it'll give us like the URL of the unique URL of that customer journey, so that let's say if they're having issues, you can click on it and see kind of what's going on.
yep.
Gives you additional metadata for that journey too.
Yep. Yep. Makes sense. Cool. And so
Sweet.
just in case people are looking, this is the name of the variable that we're working with, correct? And so
Exactly.
basically what we're saying is give us that variable as the response. So when the journey is completed, we're going to have all this new information and we're going to be able to store it in our response by defining the variable up here.
Yep.
Beautiful.
And you can rename it as data flow just get longer and bigger. It's definitely good practice to rename, but we've only got like 2-3 variables over there, so I think we're good.
Cool.
Awesome. So that's our app API, or our API to trigger off this journey.
Mm-hmm.
The next step, I believe, was the SMS notification, right?
Yep.
So yeah, go ahead and go to notifications there on the left-hand side.
Yep.
And click on, yep, that's the one.
Update notification.
And what would you like to say, like I guess the text of this notification?
So let's have a look at what variables we can use. We can just simply say, hey, here's the link to update your address.
That's perfect. Yep.
Okay. So do I just type it in here?
Yeah.
Hey.
So you can just type, hey. Do you want to let's make it like super personalized where you can pass in that user's first name, or that user's name. So if you click on the function icon, yeah, and click on the custom expression.
Yep.
And so if you just type session dot start .name.
Beautiful.
Awesome.
Okay.
So that's essentially saying, hey, Ismaen, or hey, Connor,
Yep.
here's the link to update your address.
Here's the link to the address.
And
Boom.
then the link. And so something that I've actually learned working at Airkit is the way that like text messages work is you want to like if you are sending a link, it's actually good to have it be a separate text altogether. So like instead of sending one text, it'll actually be two texts so that like the second text will actually like kind of like get a pretty view if you're on like Android or iOS. Like if you ever shared something on Amazon,
Yep.
like you actually see the thumbnail, right?
Yep.
So if you click on that plus icon, you can actually just pass the link to Journey.
Beautiful. Okay.
Oh, I think you clicked the wrong one. So this is just a normal link. If you click on the plus icon one more time, there's a link to Journey.
Right. Link to
There you
Journey.
go. So that's going to be essentially that individual unique user session.
Yep. Yep. Cool. And so, do I need to configure anything here? Continue last
No,
session. No.
that's
Cool.
automatic. Yeah.
Cool.
So it automatically knows that this is your like that unique user session.
Nice. And is this where, if I, for example, am returning to a session that I've already started, it will continue off where I left off?
Yep, exactly.
Beautiful. Okay. Real good.
By like it's actually by the keystroke even. So if you don't even finish a form field and you're like halfway and you exit out and you come back, it'll to the keystroke you'll continue back to that session.
Cool.
So
All right.
awesome. So that was the notification aspect. Now we get to actually build the web experience. So you go ahead and go to Webflows, and then click on Webflow and click on Webpage. So Webflow is like a collection of web pages. And so here's where we can just say, like, since we're just updating the address, we're just going to say like, hello, first name, maybe. Please update your address and give them like a form field. Does that sound good?
That sounds great.
Cool. So to add a control, you can see that plus icon next to web page. Yeah, that
Yep.
one works.
This one.
Perfect.
Oh.
And let's start with like a label, I guess.
That's
These are essentially all of our controls. You can add input boxes, you can add like document uploads, check boxes, even Google Maps if you wanted to.
and send and receive money as well.
Yep.
Just while we're on the topic, what do you use to process payments?
Yeah, we got like a Stripe integration or
Nice.
Plaid integration to essentially just pass your Stripe key or your Plaid key, and we have controls that are configured for those.
Awesome. So you're basically integrating with already existing tools out there that people might already be using.
Yep, exactly.
Cool.
So here we're just going to add a simple label,
Okay.
and you got to click on exactly.
Click this one here. Great.
Cool. And let's actually edit it from the right hand pane where you see like the control properties.
Yep.
If you click that drop down, we can actually do some air script in there. So if you just type in quotes hi and then do double curly brace session.start.name. I think you're missing an O by session.
Yep.
And then close the quote. So here we're essentially just creating another personalized experience. But you can think of this as, hey, if you have all this data and you want to pass this into a pre-filled form, like multiple fields, it makes it easy to actually like add, makes it easy to fill out that form. And since you already have that data of that customer,
Mm-hmm.
but we've got that, and then we are going to add a like a place input control. So that's essentially like an address lookup control that's out of the box.
Mm-hmm.
But if you click on that plus icon again,
Input. All right. There we go.
no worries.
So input, and then we're gonna have a.
I think it actually might be under maps. I can't remember.
Can I search for it if I type in address?
Yeah, just type a place search.
Place search.
There you go.
Beautiful.
Perfect.
Okay, so we're gonna drop that in here.
And then we just need a button
Okay.
because that's going to be how they update their address.
Perfect. Okay, so we've got our dynamic variable that gets pulled in when the session starts. Then we've got our address field that we're going to allow them to update. And then we have our button that we're going to basically use to trigger our journey.
Exactly. Oh, this button is actually going to update the Airtable base.
Right. Cool.
Yeah. So on that button, we can say like submit or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
Or update address.
Yeah, we'll go update address. All right.
All right. And I think we've got like one more step, which is essentially making the HTTP request back to Airtable.
Mm-hmm.
And so if you go ahead and go to connections now.
Yep.
And click on data flow.
Mm-hmm.
And so again, like data flows are essentially, you can think of them as these functions. They take in inputs, and you can actually pass the outputs back into your session as well. But the input of this is going to be essentially the record ID that is coming from Airtable.
Mm-hmm.
So on the right-hand side, we can add a input that is going to be of text type.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's going to be essentially a string, and you can just call it ID, I guess.
Whoopsie.
Awesome.
Yeah. Okay.
And then, so that's perfect. That's pretty much all we need there.
Mm-hmm.
And we are going to add one more connection. Oh, I'm sorry. We need one more input, the address. My bad.
Mm-hmm.
That's going to be of type string too. So if you click on the input plus icon on the right-hand side.
Yep. And
yeah,
that is
you're going to do
text address.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Sweet. So these are essentially the two parameters that we need to make that post request back to Airtable,
Yep.
right?
Yep.
So the only next step is essentially making an HTTP request
Mm-hmm.
by clicking on the plus icon down there.
Okay. Or HTTP request. There we go.
Mm-hmm.
Cool.
Awesome. And so if you scroll up just a little bit and keep going. All right. So we are going to be doing well, first we need to essentially associate that API key from Airtable into this HTTP request.
Mm-hmm.
So if you click on that Airtable, perfect. And the method is we're going to be doing a patch.
Yep.
All right. And so our URL, the way I got it was I just like looked for the Airtable API docs. It was actually really nice. Airtable actually, this was my first time working with the Airtable API, but they like generated docs that are specific for my base, which is pretty cool.
Yeah, it's awesome, isn't it?
Yeah, it's super cool. All right. So table 1, yeah, perfect.
And then
Update records.
perfect. And then we've got the URL up here.
Exactly.
Okay, and so I just copy this URL.
Yep, just copy that URL.
Okay. Return here, paste it.
And my understanding is that in order to update an actual record, you have to do one more path, I guess. So do /. And in double curly braces, we are dynamically passing the ID variable. So if you do double curly braces.
Oh, sorry. Yep. Yes. And then it's ID.
Exactly.
because that's the variable that we've defined up here as the Airtable ID that we're updating.
Yep.
And so if we go and have a look at this, okay, so the API documentation shows it for updating records in general. But yeah, if you had a look at an individual record, you'd see here that it has a slash and then your Airtable record ID that you can find inside of your Airtable base.
Mm-hmm.
Cool.
Exactly.
Yep.
Awesome.
Okay.
And then we do need to pass a body,
Yep.
which is essentially going to be, we just need to update the address.
Mm-hmm.
So I think the documentation essentially says, like, what does it say? In the fields, I think.
Yep.
Yeah, exactly.
So we'll grab this part here. So fields, name, phone, address. So we're going to go ahead and paste that in here. Now we don't need to update name. We don't need to update this. Now, is this configured correctly, or do I need more squiggly brackets?
You need to wrap it. Yeah, you just need to wrap it in the squiggly brackets.
Beautiful. All right, there we go.
That's perfect.
And then this here has to be replaced with the variable that we defined as address.
Yep, exactly.
Love it. Okay, let's go ahead. Make that address.
And you actually don't need to wrap that in double curly braces. The only reason before we had to do it because it was in a string, but because this is a JSON object, it actually just reads that as a variable.
Right.
Perfect.
Yep. Same thing when you're writing like Airtable scripts as well. Works in the exact same way. Yeah, cool.
Oh, perfect. Awesome. So that looks good. I think we've actually configured the flow here. Let's go ahead and save.
I feel so productive. Let me tell you, I feel like we've done so much here.
We've done a lot. And yeah, so let's go ahead and save, and let's we've got to publish this in order to actually, like, what do you call it? Like, make the API live.
Yep.
So go ahead and click on publish. And that looks great. Awesome. So
okay.
If you can save that link there.
Save it. Yep.
Cool. And before we actually well, I want to show you, like, we can actually preview this in our debugger as well. So before we actually connect it to Airtable, we can actually preview this by clicking on the preview on the top right hand side. So this is kind of like how we emulate our sessions. And so do you see that little like carrot pointing to the left on the top right, all the way on the top right? Yeah, let's open that up. So that's going to be our state viewer, but because this app is triggered by an API, you can click on the API up at the top there. And that's going to be our endpoint. So think of this like almost as like a mini postman, if you will.
Yeah.
So click on that, and we're doing a post request to that endpoint, and we're going to need to enter a body. So let's go ahead and pass in some, like, essentially that JSON object that we created in the beginning of the stream into that body there. So click on
not that. Where was it? It was under
triggers.
Triggers, that's right. Sorry.
Yeah.
There we go. Copy that. Go back to our previewer. Paste it in here. There we go.
And that's perfect. The only thing that like won't work in this, because like we don't actually have like a real record ID. Are we able to get that from Airtable real quick?
Yep.
Or cool.
We'll go here. Go on. Get our record ID. There we go.
Oh, cool.
Okay. Come on. Usually it goes a bit faster than this. It's because I didn't give this a proper name. See, the naming conventions are coming back to haunt us.
Yeah. While we wait for that, I just see something in chat. Is the button connected to this flow? That's actually one step that I totally forgot. If we have to connect the button back to the data flow. That's my bad.
Okay.
Um,
Should I quickly take that the record ID and put it in here?
yeah. We'll put it in the app preview
Oh,
actually.
sorry.
Yeah.
In here.
Yeah.
Great.
But before we do that, I just realized this might not work yet. So
Okay.
if we click on Webflows
Yep.
and click on the update address
Yep.
and the actions,
Yeah.
on click, we want to run that data flow. So
Okay.
there should be under data called run data flow.
Beautiful. And then we're
Awesome.
selecting this one here.
Yes, go ahead and click on that one.
Okay.
And there is going to be essentially session.start.id.
Yep. Cool.
And that is going to be place search input, because we actually never renamed that. But
Yep. Place.
with no dot there, I think it should be underscore. There you go.
Beautiful.
So controls automatically get added, variables added to them. But all right, now we're looking good. Let's go ahead and save.
Okay. We're gonna go save it. Do I need to republish it now that I've made that change?
You do, yes.
Publish. Okay.
All right.
And will I need to restart the previewer?
You will, unfortunately, yeah.
That's cool.
So
preview. Okay. Then we're gonna go API.
API.
Gonna select that. This is going to be a post request, and then we just want to paste our body in here. So I'll just copy what we have over here. Put it in there. Beautiful stuff.
Click on submit. All right.
Failed to pass phone number. Should I just put? Should I just put my?
Sure, that should work.
Okay. Go and do this again. Boom. Submit. Here we go. Okay.
All right. So if you click on, like, you see where it says X Airkit session -ID?
X Airkit session.
On the above there, like sorry, right up one, down a little bit. Keep going down.
X
yeah,
Airkit
on the right it's a button on the right of that. There you go. Click on that. And select the web. There you go.
Beautiful.
Sweet. So it says, "Hi Connor," and you can type in whatever address.
Wow. Okay.
Very nice. And if you click on update address,
yep.
Okay. We go back to Airtable.
Wowzers, houses! Look at this magic.
Very cool.
Cool.
So let's essentially kind of like tie it all together, right?
Yep.
So we've got the Airkit app. And so now if we go over to automations on the Airtable side.
Yep.
Let's see. All right, so we've got our script. Go ahead and click on edit code. And you just want to, like, where that URL is, the NCQND, let's replace it with your URL that you created.
Yep. And so where do I find this URL again?
Under triggers.
Triggers. There it is.
And then
this is
/update.
Beautiful.
I think you can do it from there, right?
Yep. There we go. So now we will go back into Airtable and we will paste that in there.
Okay. That's the good one. There you go.
Oh, correct.
I think, yeah, you want to delete the other one.
Yep. Beautiful.
And we did authentic. We did have what do you call it? We did do a authentication key. So we need to pass one more header. And that's just going to be the authorization space bearer.
bearer, and then it's that API
And then
key
the
that I
token.
copied before.
Yep. Hopefully we have that somewhere.
I do. Go.
All right. And I think you just need to add a comma after that quote.
Yep. Okay.
All
Lovely
right.
stuff.
And I guess we just give it a shot. I guess like my phone number is there already. Did you want to pass in? Do you have like a phone number that you'd like to use, or we can just test it here?
Let's test it on your phone number.
Yeah.
Okay, so the idea behind it is now, if I click this, then it's going to trigger my workflow, because the condition that triggers the workflow is when the SMS sent field is ticked. And so then it will run the script that we just have here, which basically makes the API call to Airkit, which then fires off this entire user journey. You'll get a text message, which is essentially this preview screen here. And then if you go and update it in your preview screen here, it will automatically update inside of Airtable.
Exactly.
I think your camera disconnected, but
okay, I will fix that.
But I love it. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna hit the SMS sent button, and now you should get it.
Barring no issues or anything that we missed, I guess. Doing it live.
Hey, this is the fun about live streaming.
All right.
This is this was really fun. Really like easy to follow as well. And it is definitely low code. It's definitely something, but I think that just like having experience with like Zapier, then like even Airtable scripts will kind of make this a bit easier to understand. Cool.
Exactly. Yeah, I would definitely classify this as low code. And I didn't get any notification, but if you click on, like, we can actually check to see what's going on if you click on that the menu icon there up at the top and click on sessions and activity. Looks like we got an error. Let's see what that error is. Click on app preview. Twilio.api error. Interesting. What does it say? You scroll down.
The number is unverified. Trial accounts cannot send numbers to.
Oh no.
Oh dear. Okay, let's just assume that because this part worked, that it would have sent your text message and it would have taken you through this onboarding experience that we just went through. Cool.
But yeah,
nice.
We would have gotten a text that URL would have been specific to me, with essentially saying, "Hi, Ismaen, update your address," and everything like that. But yeah, essentially, if we had a non-trial account, it would have worked.
That is awesome. Real good. Now, this is because it's my first stream. Of course, I have to ask the crowd: are there any questions? So while we wait for questions, I've got a few questions around Airkit. My first one is, what are some use cases or creative use cases that you have seen? I know you already talked about checkout abandoned, which I think is a phenomenal use case, but what are some other ones that you've seen?
Definitely. So I think abandoned checkouts are super cool because you get to nudge your customers, even like maybe even send them like a coupon code, right? A generated coupon code if like to kind of bring them back into your store. We've also have a lot of our customers doing like digital deflection, which is essentially like calling in and based off of like common use case, like I guess common workflows or support workflows, instead of having them talk to an agent or like be on hold for a while, you can like reschedule that appointment, right? Something that's like convenient for both you and the company or that brand. Or even have a workflow that is like self-service. We have a lot of our customers doing like order status type of workflows. So essentially, like if like if you're filing a claim, or kind of like Domino's pizza tracker type of experiences.
Mhm.
We have our customers build in that. So anywhere that there's like really a customer touch point, that's kind of like where we see our customers, and our builders and our developers kind of build out these seamless journeys.
Nice. Another question that I have is, I saw when we were setting this up that there are quite a few templates that you can use. Is there any place where we can go and basically learn a bit more about Airkit and how to set up use cases beyond what we just set up today?
Yeah, definitely. So first you can essentially sign up for free on airkit.com.
Hmm.
And so you can go there to essentially get your account. I think Connor, you went through that same flow, right?
Hmm.
Um, and so from there, we also have like support documentation at support.airkit.com. That's where you can kind of learn more about the different use cases and the different templates, tutorials, and everything like that. And lastly, gonna shamelessly plug our YouTube channel, youtube.com/Airkit. If That's essentially where we create videos on kind of like more unique use cases. We built like Calendly in Airkit the other day. My colleague built like Google Lens in Airkit. I thought that was pretty cool. And so just kind of more unique use cases that aren't really around like customer experiences, but we find fun and interesting. So.
Amazing. Isman,
Mhm.
is there any place where we can follow you or kind of keep in, like, kind of see what you're up to personally?
Definitely, definitely. So you can follow me on Twitter. Essentially, what was it? Twitter.com/Isman underscore.
Mhm.
That's pretty much where I live. If you want to add me on LinkedIn, that's great too. But yeah, those are essentially the two channels that I use a lot.
Awesome. Well, we've done time has just gone by so fast. Isman,
Yeah.
it was a lot of fun. I learned a lot. The platform is awesome. It's very intuitive to use. Um, Other than that, I think unless you have anything else to share, we'll wrap it up here.
Nothing on my end. Connor, it's been an honor to be your first guest on this stream. So
Ah,
it's been a lot of fun. Thank you for having me.
I just don't know how to turn this whole thing off, so this stream might keep going for like another hour or so. But yeah, look, everyone, thank you so much for stopping by. I think I'm gonna be doing another stream with Colleen pretty soon. I'm pumped for that. She's gonna be showing us how to manage conferences through Airtable, which I'm very excited about. But other than that, thank you again so much for your time, and goodbye to everyone, and we'll see you back for the next one. See ya.
See ya.